Hi there, I'm Estelle Godlewski, an American girl who called the cornfields of Illinois home until over 10 years ago when I started navigating the chaos of life overseas. If you've ever felt that itch for something more, that whisper telling you to break free from the ordinary, you're in the right place. This podcast is your backstage pass to the wild ride of moving abroad. I'm here to pull back the curtain on the real journey, sharing stories that are funny, dramatic, and sometimes downright unbelievable. We'll explore the gritty details, from battling culture shock and navigating tricky visa processes to celebrating those small victories that make it all worth it. So whether you're daydreaming about a new life abroad or already in the thick of it, grab your passport and let's explore what it really means to live life beyond borders. Welcome to A Broadly Speaking. Hi there, friend. Welcome to the Broadly Speaking podcast. My name is Miss Estelle. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. This is Broadly Speaking, the tough love edition. So this week, we're going to lovingly slap the one day right out of your vocabulary. And so many people recently have been saying to me, well, one day I want to move abroad. One day I'll do this. One day I'll do that. And you're making a bunch of reasons, AKA excuses, of why you can't move abroad. I'm going to tell you the truth today, and I have zero tolerance this week for your procrastination parade. So we're going to get brutally honest about why you're still stuck exactly where you were last year, despite you having thought, oh, I want to move abroad, or if the election turns out this way, I'm going to move abroad, or if this happens, I'm going to move abroad. And yet you're still stuck exactly in the same cul-de-sac you've been in since, well, ever. So spoiler alert, it's not your excuses, it's just you. Grab a glass of wine, grab a cuddle toy that'll make you feel better, get snugly under your most comfortable blanket, or, I don't know, toughen up for a second, and let's get going for this episode. Let's get one thing straight right off the bat. There is no right time to move abroad. There never was, there never will be, it won't. You will always, always, always be too broke, too busy, too unsure, or too emotionally exhausted from whatever fresh hell America happens to be cooking up this week. And you know what? Honestly, that's life. That's being an adult in charge of late stage capitalism with a caffeine addiction and 10 tabs open. That's being a parent. That's being a child. That's being a sibling. This is challenging for a lot of people. And in our case, it was the same. I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. We moved abroad with $2,000 in the bank, and we needed to make it work, right? We need to make it happen no matter what. And yes, we had a relocation package for our first move abroad, and that was very helpful, but that didn't account for the rent, the food, the everything that we would need once we arrived. And our first paycheck didn't come for 6 weeks until after we were there. We lived on $2,000 for 6 weeks. Thankfully, we were able to borrow the rental deposit from a family member that we were able to pay right back, but it was a lot. And we could have made the excuse, we don't have the money right now. We don't know anybody in Switzerland. My parents are going to be staying back behind. His family was all there. My brother's kids were still relatively young at the time. And so I was leaving my nephews and my niece behind. My sister-in-law at the time, neither of my sister-in-laws were married at the time. So, oh my gosh, we're going to not meet their partners. What's going to happen? All the excuses in the book, right? I had just survived having gone through a cancer treatment. My hair was just growing back when we moved here. Literally every excuse in the book not to move. And yet we did it. Why? Because we stopped making excuses and we stopped waiting for the right time. The whole I'll move when fantasy is just your fear cosplaying as logic. Waiting for things to feel stable is like waiting for Florida to become chill. It's just not happening. If your reason for not moving isn't going to change ever, too busy, not enough money, my parents, blah, 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 it's an excuse and you need to stop making it. Rip off the Band-Aid today. Plaster, if you want to know the other word for it. It's called a plaster when you're not using the brand name. Rip off the bandage and let's get moving. It's a cop-out. I love you, and it's a cop-out. You're not waiting for the right time. You are making an excuse or you're making a reason that is not going to hold up, and we need to stop doing it. I love you, and you're not being practical. You're being passive. And frankly, it's not going to help you get abroad. Every month you don't take a step forward, you're reinforcing this garbage belief that your dream life requires perfect conditions, that some magical moment or some fairy godmother is going to come where you suddenly have enough time, money, clarity, confidence, approval from your parents, and the fairy godmother bringing a sign from the universe saying, now is the right time. No. The universe isn't sending you a sign. It's sending you a meltdown, a broken system, and another election cycle that makes you want to flee the grid. So here's your sign. Here it is. Ready? If you're miserable or unhappy, if you want out, and you already know that you're ready to move abroad, stop calling it a phase. It's a call to action. It's a call to take action. So let's honor a few of your all-time greatest excuses that you have. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Let's honor a few of your all-time greatest quote unquote reasons you have for not to move abroad, shall we? I just want to wait until after the holidays. I need to be fluent in the language first. I'll move once I get that remote job I've been waiting for. I just want to see what happens in the next election. Or maybe it's, I'll move when my kids graduate from high school in 12 years. Or it could even be, I have to do more research. The last one is my personal favorite because that's essentially saying, I just want to scroll through Reddit and Google until I'm paralyzed with panic and reading things from 2012 that are no longer relevant. Congratulations. These excuses have won 0 awards. They've changed 0 lives, and they've guaranteed 0 plane tickets. So stop making them. And I get it. We don't want to call them excuses. We want to call them things like, oh, look, they're not excuses, Miss Dell. These are things that are really here for me. But are they? We're ripping off the Band-Aid today. We're getting uncomfortable today. And I normally don't do this. Yes, it's going to suck. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, money doesn't grow on trees. And no, your parents aren't going to get any younger. And no, your kids aren't going to like moving away from their friends anymore. But if the world is burning down around you, is it worth staying for? That's the question you have to answer for yourself. Is the reality that you're living in today worth it? What's your worst case scenario if you move abroad? If your worst case scenario is the life that you're living right now, is it worth moving and taking the chance? And that you have to answer for yourself. So it's going to suck. It's going to be uncomfortable. But what great change in your life have you made that hasn't been a little uncomfortable and required a little bit of work? None of them. Absolutely 0. You got married, you had to plan a wedding. Even if it's a courthouse wedding, you had to get the marriage certificate, marriage license, etc. Work. If you went to college, hello, work. If you didn't go to college and you went to trade school because that was the right thing for you, great. Hello, work. You had a baby. Hello, pain. Right? Hello, work. Pregnancy is work. Pain. Pregnancy at the end, you had labor, pain, right? You've done it. Every great change you've made in your life was getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. Moving abroad is not going to be a spa day. The whole process is not that easy. It's a transformation that requires paperwork and occasionally comes with a side of panic attacks. But the reality is that if you can do 3 things today, 3, just 3 easy, honest, hard as things to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, you can actually make this happen. And a year from now, you're not going to be hearing this same podcast going, damn it, Miss Dell was right. I'm a little uncomfortable and I'm not okay with being uncomfortable, so I'm just going to stay. Do you really feel like that's what you want to do? Is that part of being uncomfortable worth it to you? Because if it is, stay. That's okay. I'm not trying to convince you to move abroad. If you don't want to move, don't. But the reality is that in order to make a change, in order to move the needle in your life, in order to get out of the discomfort that you're in right now, you have to get more uncomfortable first. I am going to give you 3 things you can do to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because the next, 6 months of your life are going to be uncomfortable if you're going to actually make the move abroad. And to be brutally honest, the next 6 months of your life are going to be uncomfortable even if you don't make the move abroad. Choose your discomfort. Steps for making uncomfortable things less uncomfortable. Step number 1 is to stop expecting clarity before you commit to something. You're not going to feel ready ever. You're not going to wake up one day and magically feel confident and perfectly organized with your move abroad. The discomfort of what the am I doing is part of the process. Making the decision before you have certainty or clarity is inherently part of the process. You do this all the time. When you quit a job and start a new one, that's jumping through. You have commitment before clarity because you don't know what the new job is going to be like. You had a baby. You didn't know what personality you were going to get outside that baby. You got married. You don't know what married life is. You've never ever done something until you've done it. You don't know how it's going to turn out until you do it. So you have to get comfortable without clarity. You have to get comfortable without being comfortable. The clarity comes after you commit to something, not before. That's not chaos. That's courage. Confidence comes from doing something. Confidence is a side effect of action. It is not a prerequisite for it. You've never had a baby until you've had a baby. You don't know what it's really like to have a baby until you've had one. You don't know what it's like to start a new job until you started one. You don't know what it's like to move until you've moved once. You don't know what it's like to do anything until you've done it at least once. So you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, and you have to make a commitment before you have all the clarity of what's going to feel like, because you'll never know what it's going to feel like until you actually do it. Step number 2 is making your fear your roommate and not your landlord. You're scared? Cool, no problem. So is literally everyone who's ever packed up their life and moved to another country. Your fear is not going to go anywhere, but it doesn't get to drive. You can sit it in the passenger seat while you Google visa requirements and yell at your printer. Fear can exist in the room with you, but you don't have to give it your Wi-Fi password and ask it if it wants coffee. Fear is with you wherever you go, but it doesn't have to be in charge. You don't have to pay it rent. You don't have to follow its rules. You get to be in charge of your fear instead of your fear being in charge of you. Fear is not a stop sign. It's a GPS ping that you're heading somewhere big. It's taking you out of your discomfort. It's taking you out of that world of this is all the things I've known and placing you smack dab into a world that you've never known before. And you get to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. If you make your fear your landlord, they get to make the decisions for you. That fear is making the decisions for you. And then what? Then you're going to be exactly in the same spot 6 months from now as you are today. Make it your roommate. Bring it along. It's coming along whether you like it or not. But whether you let it drive or you drive it is entirely up to you. And this time you get to take the fear by the throat and say, all right, we're doing it anyway. We're going to be uncomfortable. We're going to be scared. We're going to be crazy. And this is going to be hard. And I don't know what it feels like to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's okay. That's part of this process. The third step in getting comfortable with being uncomfortable is practice doing shit before you're ready. If you're waiting to feel ready, you're self-sabotaging yourself over and over again and disguising it as strategy. So you don't speak the language yet. Cool. You're going to sound like a drunk toddler at first. Everyone does. If you don't know how to navigate a tax system in Switzerland, cool. Neither does half the country that actually works and lives here. I don't. Do it anyway. Apply messy. Research badly. Ask dumb questions. That's how you earn the upgrade in your life. Trust me, when we first moved to Switzerland, my God, my German, all I could do is count to 100 in German. That's all I could do. Don't ask me why. I could go from 0 to 100, but could I ask for garlic? Nope. When we moved back to Switzerland in 2020, by then I thought, dude, I'm cool. I can speak German. Let's go. I took my car to the inspection place. So you have to take your car every few years to the inspection place. And the guy told me a word I had literally never heard in German before. And I'm like, what? What am I supposed to do? He was telling me to tap the brakes because he wanted me to figure out what the brake lights are. I had absolutely no idea what he was talking about. And he did not speak any English whatsoever. Zero English. So we got by on other words that worked for us. Halten means to stop in German. Bremse are brakes. So he told me the thing you use to stop because I didn't know the word for brakes. He told me the lights on the bottom of your car because I didn't know what fog lights were called in German. Still don't. I'm going to fail that one next time too. Still have no idea. Even though I do it messy. And it's okay. No one makes fun of me. Or if he does, he went home to his wife and he's like, this damn idiot brought in her car today and she didn't even know what brakes were. Can you believe it? How did she ever pass her driving exam? Helpful hint, I passed it in the United States because Switzerland allowed me to convert my license. But the reality is we're going to do things that are not something I've ever done before. And every day we bought a house. You want to talk about scary, messy situations? Buy a house in another country. Holy moly, it's scary and messy. I could do a whole 15 episode sequence on the messiness of that. But the reality is it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's not okay to let that discomfort stop you from doing what you need to do. It's going to suck at first. That's the tax that you're going to pay for building the life that you want. And you know what? It is worth every single bit of that discomfort. It's worth every bit of that hard day, that fear, that strength that you build up, because there's going to be hard days ahead and you have to have that fear and the strength to do it. And I know this feels like a hoorah episode, or maybe you're thinking, screw this, I'm never listening to Estelle again. And I get it. I honestly do. There's so many people out there who are telling you, you got to do this and you got to do that and you got to do this and you got to get a visa and you got to get a passport and you got to get $1 million and you have to have $500,000 and you have to do this. You're right. There's so many things happening and it just all feels overwhelming right now. But what you get to do, bonus tip, take one small teeny tiny step forward. Go back to the days, and you've all seen these. If you don't have kids of your own, you've all seen it anyway. You watch babies take their first step. They have no idea what they're doing. They've never done it before. They fall and they get right back up and they try it again. They fall and they get right back up and they try it again. And eventually you're chasing them all the way around the world, or you're flying through the ice with them on a ice hockey rink. But in the short term, it's really uncomfortable. And yet we watch and we cheer those babies on. Yay, get up. You did such a great job. Look at you. You took one step. And then they get up and they do it again. And they do it again and again and again and again and again. And that's what you get to do. You're going to take a step and maybe you're going to fall, or maybe you're going to have like a whole long run before you trip. Trust me, a 10K is a lot of work. You're going to run 10 kilometers and you're going to fall maybe, or you're going to fall out of the gate. It doesn't matter. Get up. Cheer yourself on, dust yourself off, cheer yourself on. Look, you did it. You took a step. And that step is not Googling yet again how to move abroad with $12. That step is getting the documents that you need for your particular visa situation. Your process is applying for your passport if you haven't done that yet. It's getting your picture taken for your visa because you know you're going to need it and it needs to be issued within a certain period of time. It's requesting the apostille of your birth certificate because you know you're going to need it. So one small step, and then cheer yourself on because you took that step. That fear, each step you take when you're in the driver's seat and not your fear, is going to make a big change for you. Look, honestly, moving abroad is one long discomfort training boot camp, but so is staying stuck in a life that doesn't fit you anymore. At least one of them leads to somewhere that's worth going. So if you're ready to stop waiting for readiness and start actually doing something and getting resourced, I have a free personalized visa checklist with your name on it. Because Googling blindly with 30 tabs open is not the way that you're going to get over your fear, and it's not the way that you're going to move abroad. I'm going to drop the link in the episode notes for you, but this one is helpful for you to just take one step at a time and know kind of what the steps are of getting a visa process through. And it's general for any country. It doesn't matter where you're going. It gives you the helpful hint. I love you, and don't let fear win. Don't let being uncomfortable and making an uncomfortable choice win. Don't let the fear of taking the first step stop you from doing it. Because just like that baby, I'm here to cheer you on every single step of the way. I'm here to stand there and yell from the rooftops. I'm a good hockey mom. I can be heard out on the ice for my daughter. I will shout for you and cheer you on every step of the way, but you gotta take the steps. I can't do that for you. I am not able to take those steps for you. It's time to take the next messy, awkward, deeply liberating step. It's time to put fear in the passenger seat and not in the driver's seat. And it's time to stop making excuses that you call reasons for not moving abroad. All right, my friend, that is the end of this episode. I love you. I hope this one was helpful for you. Save this one for when you get stuck in the future and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. And you need a little pep talk to remind you that you are in charge of this situation. You get to do it uncomfortably. You get to do it with fear, but you still get to do it. All right, my friend, have a great rest of your day. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in to A Broadly Speaking. If today's episode got you dreaming a little bigger or thinking a little braver, go ahead and hit subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who's ready for their own adventure. And hey, don't be a stranger. Come hang out with me over on Instagram at I am Estelle for the real, unfiltered life abroad. Keep that passport handy, and remember, life's too short to stay in one place.